Hello and welcome to the RogueLands Ultimate Weapon Series. Today we're looking at a sword called the Fractured Soul. This is the Fractured Soul. You make it by combining an Aether Blade with a Darkened Prism in Mech City. And it's a bit peculiar, this weapon, because it should have really high damage, and in many cases it does, but it's also very strange. When you left click, it functions like any other sword. It scales 1-to-1 with strength just as a regular sword would, but it also shoots a projectile. It's one per sword swing, but it functions a little bit differently to most of the projectiles in the game because it works more like a gauntlet projectile, except worse. Basically the way that it works, and I'll show you just right now, you left click and then you'll spawn a projectile and it'll be whatever direction you're facing. Then wherever your mouse is pointing, and you'll see my cursor on the screen, wherever my mouse is pointing, it will fire a projectile towards that location after a delay. Apparently it's 1.5 seconds delay, but we'll see. Again, I've not counted, I've not done it, but it is pretty significant when you're playing the game. So, I'm going to aim for where it says challenge level 1, I'm going to left click, a projectile's going to come out of me. Watch. Projectile's in front of me, then it fires. And it goes towards where that was pointing. But then, if I move my mouse cursor, I'll try it again, exactly the same place. If I move my mouse cursor, it will still travel along the same trajectory, okay? So it goes across the same direction. So, it's an input-sensitive, slow-firing gauntlet projectile from a sword. It scales with magic plus faith, which is decent, considering other weapons like tornado that are also a gauntlet with a relatively slow projectile. You know, that works the same way, but unfortunately the tornado and things of that nature are a lot better because they come out quicker, they are more consistent to hit, and for things like this, you're kind of given the best of both worlds and the worst at the same time. So if you want to, you can just forget about the projectiles and use it as a regular sword, which is what I should be doing in this. The only real plus to the weapon that I know of, because the delay is quite significant, is that the projectiles will stay present, so this hitbox will stay there, and if an enemy walks into it, they get hit by it. Projectiles do pierce. As you can see, he walked into that rather than it being fired, and it still killed him. And the major bonus is that when you attack, if you're on top of something like I am now, you hit them with both projectile. You hit the projectile and the sword at the same time, which means you do strength plus faith plus magic all at once, which is actually pretty cool. But it's a lot of work to get something that close to you and still feeling safe, and it's much easier to just hit them and wait for the projectiles to come out. So I'm going to show you off here. I know it comes from up here, so I'm going to fire a ton of them up at Urgorak. So you can see, there you go, he's dead. So it works well for bosses, it works well for enemies you understand the AI for, things that you can lead. But because it's so slow, it kind of brings down the pace of the game a little bit. And I'm not a massive fan of that. Like I said, the most favourable thing about this entire weapon is the fact that you can auto-attack. Well, I always say auto-attack, what's wrong with me? When you attack, you also get the second projectile to do damage. And if you consider it as just a bonus, it's very cool. And like I said, if you get on top of an enemy and you get the projectile to spawn as you swing, very, very good, because the damage on it, the scaling itself, is like 3 stats added together, which is really high. But the drawback is obviously that it takes a while for it to fire off. So I think this is a weapon you could learn to master, and from there it'd be very, very strong. But until then, it's kind of just average, which is a shame. But it's a good weapon overall. For swords, it adds, you know, a little more flavour that they usually don't have, so you can't complain too much. And like I said, the damage can be really high, but it has to be on the right build, and unfortunately this isn't it. But this might be some damage similar to what you're getting. This is what you expect out of a weapon like this, so obviously keep that in mind if you are going to try and build it. And once more, if you want to do that, to make the Fractured Soul, it's an Aether Blade plus a Darkened Prism in Mech City. And don't forget, your sword has to be max rank. But that's it for me for now. I haven't got anything else to say on this, unfortunately. It's a sword I've got a little more experience with because I wasn't super familiar with the mechanics of it. So I played around a little while and decided I wasn't a massive fan, but it does have its niches, and that's what you should take away with this one. Obviously, if you like the look of it, please be my guest, go and build it, see what you think. But everything you need to know should be here, even if my opinion is not the highest of it. Anyway, that's all for now. Of course, stay subscribed to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. There is more on the way, I promise you, and it's coming very, very soon. Thank you once more for watching, and I'll see you all next time.